Isaac was nonverbal at 3 years old. He wasn't making any eye contact. He had no safety awareness, and he also wasn't socializing. He was diagnosed around 3.5 with having autism. Isaac was gonna enter kindergarten, and the school district didn't want to provide all the services he needed. Basically, I got pushed through the system without learning how to read, write, or even do mathematics. I believe the school system failed me, and I want to ensure that that does not happen to my son. I don't think anybody took me seriously. He would have been placed in a regular classroom setting, and that's when I contacted the WJCS. Meeting Lee and getting her help and support through the advocacy program was amazing. Once the school district realized I had someone that understood what they needed to provide for my child, they started acting. Isaac has made great strides with the help of WJCS. He's learning how to read, he's learning how to write, he's socializing, he's making eye contact, he plays with his siblings. I don't think he would have hit those milestones without these services. If WJCS hadn't intervened, a classroom setting would have failed him, and that took so much weight off my shoulders.
I didn't ever expect to live to be 100 years old. I'm getting a little tired counting them, but I guess it's worth it. I worked 42 years, and I was able to meet all of my expenses. And then all of a sudden, I was told my finances were over, and I couldn't believe. I was left with the prospect of losing my home and having no close relative. It was a very frightening experience. And then somebody introduced me to your people, and it was like a dream come true. My social worker, Susan, has done so much for me.
When I arrived to meet with Mildred the very first time, I arrived on the scene and found 3 feet of water in her basement.
Yeah.
She had no heat and hot water, and she had run out of money, so she wasn't able to pay for her care anymore.
And she immediately took charge, and my life started back on track again.
We were able to connect her with Medicaid so that she could qualify for home care services. We just kind of got everything sorted out and in order so that she could continue to live in her home safely and age safely here.
And if I ask a question, Susan is right there, and she'll find out whatever I want to know for me. You're helped out, and life seems worth living. 101 years is not a bad place to be.
My daughter, Agatha, she was born premature at 3 years old. Agatha was really behind in her milestones, her speech and her fine motor skills. I was worried that I wasn't doing a good job. I was new to this country, and I really didn't know how to look for resources. I was starving for information and looking for answers on how to help my kid. So the program really came into my life in a time when I was feeling really vulnerable and insecure. Through the Parent and Child program, I learned strategies for playing and interacting. The first one was to talk to her, not like a baby, but to actually interact with her. That improved her speech tremendously. And the second part was to help her to grab things and to feed herself, and the toys and books that they would bring will really help her develop fine motor skills. At the end of the program, Agatha was 100% ready to go into preschool. The way that she improved showed me how much my interactions and the way that I was playing with her was really a part of her development. And I cannot imagine what would have happened if the parent-child program wouldn't have come into my life.
I am a survivor of domestic violence all my life. I have been exposed to it since I was a child. It becomes a pattern. I was raised in a very nasty environment, and the last thing I wanted was to do that to my kids. I wanted to make a change for them. I was experiencing trauma and mental health issues due to the domestic violence I suffered. I would pull my hair out of my head or punch myself in the face, destroy things, pick up things, break things. I had to feel the rage get out. I came to WJCS for individual and group therapy. I met Miss Miriam Berenbaum, who is my spiritual life guide now. The moms get a chance to learn how to deal with their mental health issues. Most of us are survivors. I suffered things that I didn't anticipate, like PTSD, most of us do, and that brings about paranoia. Luckily, one of the rules there is whatever is said there stays there. We call it the Vegas rule, and that definitely helped me open up more. WJCS has helped my family life and my home in the sense that I don't feel alone. We found a lot of healing there, and I don't feel like a single parent because I get that void filled. I didn't love myself because no one taught me. If you work on wanting a better life for yourself, for your children, for your future, then whatever you suffered can be turned into a purpose.